Pfizer, there won't need to be a totally new buildup of different kinds of production capacity. So that's really what people are watching for next.
Bloomberg's Rachel Chung, who leads our Asia consumer and health coverage, with the latest on the vaccine developments. Right, let's bring you the first word news now. China says it is confident about the state of the economy despite surging virus numbers in key foreign markets and a looming global recession. Premier Li Keqiang says the mainland economy will likely grow this year despite, quote, great difficulties, and will probably surpass $15 trillion. He told the People's Daily that China has shifted from a stage of rapid growth to one of high-quality development. The nomination of Judy Shelton to the Fed board is in limbo, with little chance of revival as the Senate prepares to leave Washington for the Thanksgiving recess. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has scheduled no new vote this week, with the virus absence of two Republican senators likely to mean Shelton's opponents would win again. The chamber returns to work on November 30th. Riot police clashed with demonstrators in Paris as thousands denounced a new security bill in the National Assembly. The draft legislation extends social restrictions for the coronavirus, with many areas under lockdown and businesses closed. The statistics agency INSEE says France's second lockdown will push the economy into a contraction, with output falling 2.5% in a best-case scenario. And police have used water cannon in Berlin to break up a protest there against Germany's coronavirus restrictions. The protests near the Brandenburg Gate mirrored recent unrest in Frankfurt and Leipzig. As tensions rise across Europe's biggest economy, Angela Merkel is struggling to impose tighter restrictions and is due to hold a meeting next week to discuss the country's long-term plans. And that was your First Word News.
Still ahead, just about an hour from now, we'll be speaking exclusively with Singapore Exchange's CEO, Loh Boon Chye, on his efforts to make the city's bourse a more attractive listing destination. We've got other interviews coming up as well, an exclusive with the managing partner of Chinese venture capital firm Qiming Partners. And 11:30 Hong Kong, Singapore time, we'll get an update on Singapore's plans to keep the virus in check with the co-chair of its COVID-19 task force, Lawrence Wong. Of course, we're also counting you down to the start of the trading day in Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong. This is Bloomberg Markets China Open.
You are watching Bloomberg Markets China Open. We're just a few minutes away from the open of trade in the Chinese mainland and Hong Kong. The futures here in the mainland pointing down by about 0.4%. The currency just slightly weaker in today's session. The Malaysian Prime Minister, by the way, Mr. Muhyiddin Yassin is speaking at the APEC Leaders Summit. It's a virtual summit. It's being hosted by Malaysia. You can see pictures there. Chinese President Xi Jinping is expected to talk at around 10:30 Beijing time, and we still are unsure as to whether or not President Trump will be addressing the APEC summit. But there you are seeing the Malaysian Prime Minister kick-starting the APEC summit, again, that Malaysia is hosting. That is the Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin speaking there. We'll bring you more lines as we get them from that APEC summit. Rish.
All right, well, let's get back to the Bloomberg New Economy Forum. It is in session. Panelists discussing the road to a low-carbon future.
I think we all realize that the economy is being injected with unprecedented levels of capital at 12 trillion and counting, all of which will be deployed between now. Some already has been deployed, but between now and the end of next year. So certainly over the next 18 months, all of this capital will be deployed. A couple of issues about that capital, in addition to being unprecedented scale. First, it is capital that governments are borrowing, and that debt is not going to be paid by any of us on this panel. It will be paid by our children and grandchildren. So first, just from a moral perspective, let's make sure that that capital is being invested for the well-being of future generations and not to their detriment. But secondly, let's remember that this unprecedented level of capital will very likely not be able to be injected into the global economy over the next 5 to 10 years, again, a second time. And that is why we have to ensure that this capital does double or triple duty as it is injected into the economy. It absolutely must restart the economy and create millions of jobs that have been lost, plus many more, as we have heard from Jean-Pascal. Investing into a green economy creates millions of jobs. Just the U.S. plan will create 10 million jobs in the next few years in the United States. But also that same capital, not additional capital, that same capital injected into clean technologies, clean corporations, clean sectors will not just create jobs and restart the economy, it will accelerate addressing climate change. So you have the double duty or the double impact of the same capital. And the triple impact that I think is also going to be necessary is to address inequality. If we're able to understand that we have not asked for many of these crises to converge upon us in 2020, but we have seen them converge. The climate crisis, the COVID, and the economic crisis that came after that, the inequality crisis. To that, I could even add the biodiversity crisis. All of these crises, we thought they were separate, in separate silos and parallel to each other. Today, we understand that they have converged upon us and that they are actually inextricably interlinked.
That is a New Economy Forum panel discussion on the road to a low-carbon future. You can carry on watching more of this forum. Panel discussions continue on Bloomberg, on the Bloomberg terminal at LiveGo or indeed online. Quick word on some of the big names coming to you from the event a bit later Thursday. Going to be hearing from the Alphabet CFO Ruth Porat, Prudential CEO Mike Wells, and Infosys Chairman Nandan Nilekani.
Yeah, Rich, just bringing you up to date with the fix that we've had for the yuan, the daily fix. Slightly stronger than the estimate. 6.548 is the fix. It's the strongest fix that we've seen since at least mid-2018. Another strong fix here from the PBOC. The offshore currency, by the way, is a little bit weaker in today's session, despite the US dollar being near those 2-year lows. It's the fundamentals that the investors are looking at when it comes to China and the currency, with the economy continuing to recover, and it is the best performing Asian currency in the last 6 months. So that is the fix for the Chinese currency. Again, 6.54, a strong fix for the yuan. Right, let's bring you a quick check of the latest business flash headlines. Haitong Securities says it will cooperate with a probe by China's interbank bond market watchdog into allegations of market manipulation. The charges relate to a default last week by state-owned mining company Yongcheng Coal. Haitong Securities was the underwriter